Hi, folks. Welcome to the Creative Nomad, presented by TrueAwesomeLife.com. I'm your host, JP Adkins, and I created this podcast because I want to tell the stories of the radicals, the ones who are out there making the world a better, more beautiful place, the amazing authors, artists, musicians, thought leaders, coaches, and yes, nomads who are out there living their true awesome lives and want to help others do the same. Are you ready to live your true awesome life? Go to TrueAwesomeLife.com and start your journey today. And hi, folks. I am here today with Thomas Prettyman. I get the pleasure of interviewing him. He is such an amazing guy. His program is called Live Into, and he works with single fathers who really want to live into a better life and kind of, no matter where they are, they could have a great life, but it could always be better. So, Thomas, where in the world are you?
Yeah, I'm actually in Stanwood, Washington, which is about 40 minutes north of Seattle. It's beautiful here.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that are in that area at the moment because it's beautiful right now.
Yeah,
it's getting ready to get cold, so they're going south.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people that live up here. I mean, I would never really want to live anywhere else. Yeah, it's as rainy as you've ever heard and all those things, but the rain really, that's what makes us have the luscious grass and the beautiful trees that we have that you can't find anywhere else. So it's really about being thankful for both of those. A lot of people just say, screw that. And, I go to Arizona for the winter.
Yeah. I'm in a 4-season state. I'm in Michigan. It literally is 4 seasons. We're buffered a little bit. Like Chicago gets colder than we do, but we get more snow.
Yeah.
Because of the lake effect. And I'm ready to not have snow.
Yeah. Good for you. Yeah.
It's one of those, I could do it. I've been it. I've done it. It's not, I'm trying to leave it, but I can definitely live. I lived in West Palm Beach, Florida too. That's a little extreme. So there's somewhere in between the two, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So Thomas, tell me a little bit about yourself. I know that you are definitely a coach and that's doing some wonderful things, but let me hear a little bit about you.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, let's start back from, I guess, kind of what led me to where I am today. And, just some different kind of hurdles and things that I've had to overcome in my life that have really made me who I am. So going back to, I guess, like the first real traumatic thing that I experienced in my life was, my parents being divorced. And so my dad had a better life, and my mom was, in some other relationships, after the divorce that weren't very healthy for, children to be around. And so my dad ended up having sole custody of me. And I was just with my mother on every other weekend, basically, is when I saw her. And when I was 12 years old, my mother passed away. So I didn't really get to have a very good relationship with my mom. Even, to this day, I've kind of idolized my mother and really haven't listened to a whole lot of other stories of who she was or what she was going through, and really just try to put that picture in my head of just this amazing, beautiful person that did her very best with me that she could. And really that's what I've stuck to throughout my life. And it really has kind of empowered me in a difficult situation. So after that, it definitely impacted my life and what I thought. I thought, from that moment on, that I was different. I was different than all the other kids. And, every time I went to school, Mother's Day and, just all these holidays that a lot of other kids were able to celebrate, the things that they were doing with their mothers and learning from their mothers. That was definitely a part that I missed out on. So, when I was 15 years old was really the next big trauma that I had in my life after that. we had a family member that was related to one of my dad's ex-wives, who was staying with us in my house after my brother had went to college, and she actually sexually abused me for just about a year during her stay, and nobody knew it. It was all a big secret, and that really changed the course of who I became from that moment on. I was very angry. I remember fighting with her, pushing her. She was double my age. I was 15. I think she was 35 at the time. And it just really caused like a lot of, animosity between me and my father, because he didn't really understand what was going on and why I was being the way that I was. There was an incident where this was my stepsister who was living there. There was an incident where she had locked me out of the house after I came home from school one day. And I basically, in my rage, I look over in the garage and found a sledgehammer and beat the crap out of the door that goes from the house into the garage and to get in. And shortly after that, my father came home and he had saw the door and first reaction was like, I don't know what the hell has gotten into you, but he called the cops, and I ended up getting charged with a malicious mischief. So these kinds of things really had a really quantifiable impact in my life at the moment. So I hadn't graduated high school and was already kicked out of my house, and there were some neighbors that I was living with, I was then I had to do some counseling as a result of that charge, and that really was like the start of my personal development journey, was during that time, because it really made me think about the things that I was doing and the thoughts that I was having about them. There was a lot that I still hadn't sorted out, but that was really it was really a start. So I got married at 20 years old, still not having really gone through and made myself better and really focused on myself and done any of that. I didn't do that. I got right into a relationship and ended up having a baby, and there was some talk. We weren't getting along, and she actually wanted to leave. She wanted to leave me, and I was so scared about that. I didn't know what to do and how I was going to be all by myself, and so I ended up she tried to leave, and I blocked the doorway and wouldn't let her out, which of course is the domestic violence. And so she had called the police, and I was charged with that and did some jail time, spent the night in jail, I believe it was, and again was ordered to go to like a domestic violence anger management type course. And again, I remember one of the notable things I remember about that treatment that I had completed. It was a year long. It took me like a year and a couple months actually to finish it, because they don't let you go until you're ready. And I think that there was some things I don't remember off the top of my head, but there was something that was kind of getting in my way from doing that. But one of the most notable things that I remember from that period of time was that I used to be really anxious, and like a lot of anxiety kind of comes out in people. You can see it when they tap their leg. Like if you're sitting in a chair and you're just tapping your leg, that's actually a form of anxiety that's coming out, because it's like, how come you're not able to control what it is that you're doing, or what is that kind of release, that makes you feel comfortable about doing that, like that continuous movement. And by the end of that course, that was something that, I have gotten rid of, and, since I don't have any other kind of like, I just really pay attention to those things that are happening in my body and the whys. So let's fast forward a little bit. So going through all that stuff, my whole life, I've always like been really interested in like, why do I do the things that I do? Why am I behaving this way? Why do I do this? Why do I think this way in different relationships? Why do I feel insecure in this moment? And I would just continuously be, Googling everything to try to figure out, how to do this, just read lots of articles. I mean, I've consumed so much content over the last 20 years, a lot of Tony Robbins things, a lot of YouTube videos, just really everything that I can. And the internet has been, amazing source. For me, I've never really been into like video games or drama or anything like that. It's really personal development has been something, as well as like philosophy, because I believe there's a lot of things about philosophy that, are very impactful to our personal development journey as well. And so, so fast forward, I came to a point where I was in a very toxic relationship and it had ended, and that woman had my child, and she wasn't allowing me. She was actually a narcissist and would not allow me to see my child. And I was really kind of at a turning point in my life, because it was like I had this child that I had no actual legal rights to at that point, because we weren't together when he was born. And so and she was doing her best to what they call parental alienation, to really block me out from, being able to be a part of his life. And, the only option that I had at the time was, I had no money and lawyers are very expensive. I called around and, was really contemplating for a minute, just letting him go and not being a part of her life because of how much, drama this was going to be. And I spent a solid week really soul searching about what the answer was. Do I go after this kid and deal with this drama and the potential that was there for just like a life of chaos, or do I just let him go? And so what I decided to do at that very moment was I put $3,500 down on a lawyer that was $380 an hour, and then took $3,500 and got a life coach from Tony Robbins in his institute there. And that was the best decision that I could have ever made. The 6 months, so imagine I'm going through all this kind of court stuff and the lawyers and doing all this stuff at the same time that I'm like working full time. I have 2 other children I'm taking care of, and there was so much going on. It was so hectic in that moment. And I felt at like total peace that I was doing the right thing and going the right direction. And, and it was with the help of my coach that really helped me, be in the right mindset to kind of deal with these different things that were going on in my life. And, so on top of that, so I started going through and I get my own coach, and now I'm dealing with this stuff a lot better. I'm looking to increase like where I'm at work. I'm getting better jobs. I'm getting certifications to get a better job. And then I just decide, wait a minute, I don't want to be at this company at all. I want to spend my life helping people understand the very things that I got to understand and how impactful that was to my life. And so really that's where I'm at now, is giving back to the people that were in a similar situation that I was in.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton to unpack there. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm gonna go back. So
Please.
When you were working with the counselor after you were sexually assaulted,
Yeah.
did you actually get to talk about being sexually assaulted, or did you kind of still keep that away?
Yeah, no. That was something that I did talk to my counselor about, and I had had a counselor like all my entire life. I've had a counselor since these incidents. Really, I've kind of moved and found another one, and that one didn't work, and I'd have to get another one. It's a big, lengthy process to make sure that you're kind of vibing, connecting the right way. But yeah, it was something that was definitely talked about, though. It really, I felt like I started to get almost a reliance on that relationship, and that would be the only I would keep going back. Like I wasn't getting any help, but I was finding talking very helpful, right? Like it could have been anybody in that chair that me and the insurance company were giving the money to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, because I know that with my experience, I've worked with people that have had those kind of incidences, mostly in the gay world. And what I found is that they can't talk about it. And so I think that it's amazing that you got to talk to a counselor, and it might be what really did save your life, because I know a lot of people just regress that, and it's such a stigma for a guy. I mean, you're a guy. Oh, you got to go and have sex with this 35-year-old, and she was
Right.
hot,
Right.
and this whole thing. So I want to commend you for that.
Thank
And
you.
then to go forward and just know who you are enough to kind of, make sure that you're getting the help when you needed it, and to continue getting help, and to standing up for who you are over and over again. That's something that I really want to commend you for.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And that's really what that's why I intend to really give back in my message as I'm moving forward, is that really standing up for yourself and giving voice to how you feel. And, and if something isn't right, then, there's a way that you can go about managing that stuff. And that was where, in the past, I had like held a lot of stuff in that I was suppressing, even in like relationships and stuff like that. I was kind of curtailing what I should say and how I should be and the things that I should do to appease the other person, which, as I've learned, most people do that. We wear these masks, and then, you meet someone that's wearing a mask, and then when you guys drop those masks and you're in this relationship, and it's, 2-3 months down the road, then, that's where things can start getting really toxic, because that isn't the person that you thought they were to begin with. And because you weren't being who the total version of yourself, that things just get really kind of convoluted.
Yeah, authenticity is something that's very difficult. It's difficult at the beginning of a relationship anyways, but just being authentic to yourself and allowing other people to see you without the mask, without the barriers in between. It's a lot of the work that I've done through Landmark.
Right.
Is, really just getting rid of, and I thought that I was. That's
right.
The fun part.
Yeah.
And there's always another layer. Oh no, I was leaving that out. No, that's not part of me. What are you talking about? So,
yeah, this whole constant, it's a constant, evaluation of yourself and where you're at, and being present, and, really determining how you show up. And, that's really what I work with my clients on, is understanding. So the principles that I was taught under, was from, Bruce D. Snyder. And he's written several books. One of them, that I just read recently, was called Energy Leadership. So he's the one that actually founded IPEC, the school that I'm going through currently to get my life coaching certification. And the really, the whole premise that he poses is that there are 7 levels of energy that we can show up on, and really looking at those different levels of energy. Once you understand what they are and what effect each of those energies has, it's really easy to see kind of where you are, and then give you the choice to say, okay, well, where do I want to be right now, right? So the first 2 levels of energy are really called catabolic, and those are negative. Those are things that when we think about, they actually bring us down and cause us to, you can physically feel the negative energy. And just like if you've had any kind of conversations with somebody and you're having a great day and this is awesome, and they're like, man, I hate my life, this sucks, I can't do anything right, and they're in that kind of attitude, you can feel that negative energy. And so I just work with my clients to, kind of unpack that stuff and really look at, what do we need to do to get to the next level of energy? So, and then, all the way up into, level 7, which, those people tend to, have their heads in the clouds. And that's where, when we create something, when we're in flow, those are level 7 energy. And that's really where we want to try to spend most of our time. You know, painters can spend 20 hours and get lost in their art. And you're just like, wow, how can somebody, you know, spend so much time, you know, painting this giant thing, and, you know, it just looks like little progress each time. Yeah. But you're in flow in that state when you're creating. And so, yeah, really it's about trying to figure out how we really want to show up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very important, because one of the things I've heard, and now I'm trying to remember who said it, but one of the quotes, "You are responsible for the energy you bring into the room." And I don't think that people take responsibility for that energy enough.
Yeah.
Right. So it's one of the things that, have you been finding that as you've been working with people, have they been showing up differently for you as you show up differently? How does that work for you in your real life?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we know that whether it be in a team or just in one relationship, that one person can truly change the dynamic of the relationship, right? So if you're not getting along with your spouse, I mean, a lot of times what we try to do is, you know, put the blame off on them, or they're being this way, that's why I'm being this way. If you weren't like this, I wouldn't be like this. And what we know is that, you know, when you change who you are, it changes everything around you. And so I've definitely noticed that the energy level around me, whether it be at my 9-to-5 job or at home around my family, my kids, whether I'm at the grocery store, that the level increases around me. And that's actually, you know, what I look for. I look for opportunities to be able to bring up people's, you know, energy levels around me. One thing that I really started doing about probably 3 or 4 months ago, and I've had just amazing results, is I started asking people what the best part of their day was. And that really, really changed the dynamic of the conversations I was having to people that I didn't even know, right? You go to the grocery store and you're 5th back in line, and, you know, you just got that gum or whatever it is that you're buying. And you hear the lady at the register asking the 5 people in front of you the exact same question. And then when you get up to pay, she asks you the exact same question. So it's like, you know, usually goes something like, well, you know, how's your day going? Going great. Mine too. Great. Cool. Thanks. You know, next, how's your day? Going great. You know, or if it's close to the weekend, you know, it seems like the people at these places, whether it be a coffee stand or gas station or a place of business, everybody kind of has that same mentality. You know, how's your day? You know, you're trying to be nice and sweet, and you know that they ultimately don't care what your answer is. But so I started asking people what the best part of their day was, and it really, really caught people off guard. But some amazing things have happened as a result of that question. Actually, the very first time I asked it, I was with my 2-year-old son in a Fred Meyer, and you know, put all the stuff on there in the morning. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and so she was ringing my stuff, and I asked her, and she stopped, paused for a second, and said, I don't know, I'm alive, you know. Wow. And so I said, wow, that's really amazing that you are not taking your health for granted. You know, so many people do, and it's so important. You know, our health affects everything else we do, but not you. You didn't take that for granted. That's great. Right. I just left it at that. And so she was scanning my stuff as I was talking. Then she stops again, and then her face changed. Her face literally changed in front of me. And then she went from kind of this mundane, you know, look that, you know, she'd just been doing the same thing all the time, and her eyes lit up, her face, you know, tightened up, and literally it's hard to explain exactly how, but just witnessing that happen. And she said, yeah, you're right. I really shouldn't take that for granted. And, you know, I don't know why it took me so long to answer you in the first place. And, I should really think more about that. Thank you.
Yeah,
and it really blew me away.
I've worked in customer service. So yeah, I've been that person. I've been the person that's like, listen, I'm trying to be nice here, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, get the hell out. And I've also been the person that's kind of sat and watched. I did I worked for a marketing company that did samples. So I was literally a sample guy for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And that it was like just watching the people that were dead. And, and that's
Right.
the only way to describe them. They're walking zombies in the grocery store. They don't actually see anything going on. They don't see anyone else there. They're in their own little worlds. A lot of times they have headphones on. There is no
Mm-hmm.
interaction, and they're glazed over like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And once in a while, you get that interaction where you get to like see them wake up. Oh, yeah, I'm not on autopilot anymore,
Right.
and
Right.
just like stop them, like
Yep.
crazy.
Yeah, no, that is an amazing thing. And just watching people that have been in autopilot really get out of autopilot, just even for a glimmer of a second, really can make a huge impact.
Yeah, that's what it means. People go, "I'm awakened," you know, and
Mm-hmm.
that's really what it means. Wake up and notice that you there is something around you. You are in control of your life.
Right.
One of the things I like to say a lot is, yeah, right now in this moment, I can scream, I can talk nicely to you, I can take off all my clothes and run down the street. I have those options. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to do most of them, but they're all there. You know, I'm selling off everything I own to go travel the country. It's just that 4 years ago, that would have been crazy.
Yeah.
3 hours ago, that's still crazy.
Yeah, it really is amazing what can happen in an amount of time. I mean, when I think back to, when I was 20 years old and having a baby, and kind of how far my personal development, my happiness level, all these things kind of, the level of order in my life and all those things, from 20 to 35, I made very incremental improvements. And with, like I said, all that talking about all the work that I had done and all the research I had done, all the reading that I had done, and still only made just a very small increase of my life over that long period of time. And getting a coach and having my own coach in just a very short period of time changed the entire game. And so, that's why I recommend it to everybody. And, I will find my tribe of folks that resonate with my message so that I can help them. And as well, I know you are doing that as well.
I enjoy it. If you guys don't know, Thomas is one of my clients. He works in the quantum impact coaching for that group, and he's one of my first ones since I got brought onto the team. So it's been interesting watching him grow, and feeling like I have a direct impact in how he gets to impact other people. I who he is just such a powerful person anyways. So watching that come alive and grow, and it's like watching a dahlia bloom. It takes
Awesome.
you
Thank
just
you.
see it all go through, and it's just amazing. And where he is now, I can't even imagine how many men he's going to impact, and just how many families. You know, just the how many guys do you know that would just give up? Would just give up. They have a kid. Okay, they have two other kids at this point, and this one wants to be whatever. This baby mama drama is just crazy. So, do I really want to deal with that? I have two other kids, and I commend you for just saying, yeah, that is my child.
Yeah, after I decided that that's what I want to do, it was just like, why would I have decided anything else? Like, there is no way that I could. I like legitimately thought about it, and I was like, there's no way I could live the rest of my life without, having a relationship or an impact on this kid. And since I've got him there, I know for a fact that there isn't another human on earth that loves him more than I do, and as healthy as I do. And the things that I'm going to teach that kid, and what I'm going to show him is possible in this world is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I've gotten the privilege of being able to see some of the interaction you have and knowing where you guys are going, and I just find it phenomenal.
Yeah, that kid must be. So, and kind of stepping back a little bit and talk, I kind of want to talk about, the help that you've given me. Cause that's been like, really the rate of time in our life. And that's why I really feel like it's important that we always have coaches. Through my school, I also have coaches through there, and I'm a coach, and so we help mentor other people and kind of a lot there. But specifically, you guys coming into my life at the right time and what you offered at just the right time is absolutely amazing. So, and I'm going to share something with you that you probably don't know yet. But so I got working with you, just so everybody knows, you helped me really dial in my schedule. And we went through, every single minute of my day and what that looks like, and really optimizing my week to my advantage, and really leveraging all this, this time that we have, and really dialed it in. And so I really appreciate you for that. So since I've had this kind of schedule, there was, writing things down is obviously really powerful. Our, what our intentions are, writing those down, and what our goals are, having those written down on very specific days. Those are all very, very important aspects. But sometimes when we don't meet our commitments, or when something on the schedule, we don't follow through on it, you can look at it and say, okay, well, why didn't I do this? Sometimes it's because you value something else more than you value whatever it is that's on your schedule. And so you can kind of really look at that and as like, well, does this make sense? Do I really want to be doing this thing, or do I want to be doing this other thing? And so you can, really tweak your schedule so that it fits you, but then also, giving yourself grace when your schedule isn't right down to a T. Where that has impacted me was over the last few weeks. I actually just met an amazing girl. She's my girlfriend now, and so it became a little bit tricky because, for the last, almost a year, I've been on my own and really not been in any really serious relationships that I was willing to, move my schedule around for. The things that I was doing was the things I was doing. And I'm sorry, this is important to me. Mm-hmm. But now, since I've been in this relationship, like I've kind of been, disregarding my schedule completely to go hang out over here, to go, go do this with her and whatever. And, just a conversation that we had recently, that's going to happen here later today, is that we're really going to synchronize our schedules, and I'm going to help her do the exact same kind of scheduling that I'm doing, so that we can, know ahead of time instead of like, at the last minute, do you want to come over? Do you want to come over? And kind of throwing things off for a loop. So it's really about just getting super organized, and you can still honor all the things that you want to do. But when you look at it that way, it'll help, any kind of, I just to kind of imagine what things the old me would have been like. I would have, this is spoken from because it's happened before, that I would be working on myself and lose weight and going to the gym and doing the things and feeling great, get a girlfriend, stop it all. Just throw it all out the window. Like all my time is with her and all this stuff. And then I kind of started feeling like, wait a minute, like I felt really good about myself. And here we are, 3 months later, and I'm with you and I feel like shit. And so, I feel like being able to have a schedule, being able to sync it up with her schedule, we can, kind of come to an agreement of, when we're going to see each other and kind of what activities we're going to do, while we're together. She has a gym in her house. And so, I plan on, putting that on my schedule as going to the gym. Well, it's at her house. So that makes it a lot easier to still honor, the things that I want to do. And she'll want to do that as well. And so now we're going to be doing that together, which is a super healthy thing. So, I can't thank you enough. Like it is just that one little thing that you helped me with. I mean, it was a big thing, made a huge impact in my life, and it still does. So I really appreciate you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's actually funny because when I got taught that time was important, and I was told to schedule out 24 hours, and because it's just a exercise, you have time, because you do have time to do whatever thing you want to do. You have 24 hours just like everyone else does. Where are you using your time? And you find that I spent today I spent 2 hours on Facebook, just like mindlessly kind of commenting, not even doing my normal like out there seeking being the power that I can be, and getting the communication. No, I
Mm-hmm.
was just like mindlessly scrolling for 2 hours. And I'm like, wow. And then you notice, okay, well, so I didn't do my morning routine.
Mm.
I feel like crap.
Wow.
I still need to go and give the dog a walk because I'm not on schedule, and he's looking at me like I'm crazy. And you start realizing, oh, I'm behind. Then you start feeling behind is the problem.
Right.
And then it starts snowballing into this like, oh my goodness, I'm running into everything. Luckily, I know better, and I can like say, no, that's not what I did, and okay, so I'm gonna start here, and this is what I'll do now.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
and that's one of the great things about working with Chad and Holly is that I get to do that. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like I'm not on a set schedule, a 9 to 5 that says, hey, you have to be here at this time, other than what, 3 hours a week. I have to be on, and I can call into a call. I don't have to call into a call. So that's even, it's like, okay, please be there if you can. I love working with them.
Yeah.
Um, but it's because of the impact we get to have together. So what I've seen, you were posting the other day, you went to the gym a couple times already this week, and it's like, and I know that that was an issue. And you told me when we went through that process, one of my happiest moments was when you said, yeah, I met somebody, because you told me I don't have time for a girlfriend. When we were going through that, I'm like, are you dating
Yeah.
anyone? Do we need to schedule time for that? And you're like, no, I'm not going to be dating anyone. I don't have time for that, blah, blah, blah. Literally like the next day, you were like, I just met someone. It was amazing.
Yeah. I think that's like kind of how it works when you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on me and really, be the best version of myself that I can, and put all my effort into that, and I don't know, put that out into the world, and I guess that was enough to say, nope, not so fast.
Not so fast. We need now you're ready. You're attractive, in not the physical attraction, just attractive um to people. And
Yeah.
and you have been attractive since I've met you. I mean, I see the what you put out in the world is just phenomenal. Like I said, I know I keep saying this, but I've seen who you have been, and who the things that you've said, and the people that you've impacted. Just within our group, within the people that you talk to, what you put out there.
Thank you.
And if you're not in the Live Into group, you really need to be. If you are a man, um, preferably single, it probably would be more useful. But a male really does that wants to live the life that they're really dreaming.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Yeah, so my Live Into group, I actually really empower men to have more confidence, peace, and direction in life, so they can be better leaders in their families and communities. And really, that's what that's about. Is just trying to raise everybody's consciousness. It is, being a single father can be a very, very difficult thing. You're trying to balance your own life, how you manage relationships with your exes and maybe their families. Dealing with potentially a blended family. There could be lots of financial issues and things to be worked out, and just really having the right mindset as you're going through that will empower you to be able to be successful regardless of the situation that you're put in. And that's a lot of the struggles that I see with single fathers now, is just all those things that I just noted.
yeah. So if you were to say one thing to someone that was going through the baby mama drama, what
Yeah.
I'd like to call the baby mama drama, what would be that one thing that you would say to them right now?
So specifically for how we're building relationships, I would say that most of that has to do with different judgments that we make. I think it's most important to understand that we all see life and in our experiences that we go. I mean, that's everything that we get into throughout the day is just an experience. You wake up and you experience life. I'm experiencing this call right now. So are you, Jeff? You may be experiencing it very differently than me. I often will tell people this, at my 9-to-5 job that I work with, and, I'll be having a conversation face to face, and I could say that, this conversation that I'm having with this other, one of my peers could be, to me, it could be like super enlightening. I really understand, and this is powerful to me, and this is how I'm viewing this conversation. But on the other end of it, from that guy, he might be like, man, this guy just needs to shut the fuck up so I can go get back to work,
Yeah.
and may like really see things a lot differently than I do. And so it's really just really understanding that we all see things differently, and that there's no right or wrong. There really isn't. And just really watch out for the judgments that we make and how those affect us. The thing about judgments that we know is that those things that we're judging in other people, the reason that we're able to point those out is because there is a part of us that relates to that. Otherwise, you wouldn't see it. If you find somebody that you work with and you can say, wow, that guy's a piece of shit. Well, then that means, you turn that question around and say, well, where in my life am I being a piece of shit? It could be financially, it could be in relationships, could be, career, could be in any area of life. There is somewhere in one of those areas that relates to that other person's judgment for you to be able to pick it out. And so, as we're going through our relationships, just really realize that, everybody's doing the best they can with what they know at the time.
Yeah, I truly believe that. So what's the best way to contact you today, Thomas?
Yeah, the best way to contact me is through my Facebook group, Live Into, or you can go to my Facebook, my personal Facebook page, Thomas Prettyman, and I have lots of content on both of those that is surely helpful to anybody that, if this message is resonating with you right now, then the stuff that I'm putting out will definitely resonate with you as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for being here in the world, not just on this broadcast. You have been, since you came in, you've just been a light and a stand that everyone wins, and everyone around you is just that much more elevated for you being in the world. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's funny because my girlfriend actually says the exact same thing. She says, she says that I'm always looking out for the win-win in everywhere I go. I want everybody to come away with knowledge and just being able to raise their level of happiness. And I know that you're a stand for that as well. So I appreciate you as well, sir.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. Thank you for being here today. There will be links in the show notes, and I will see you guys soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Did you know that I have a podcast called The Creative Nomad? Check it out at thecreativenomadshow.com. And please like, subscribe, ring the bell, and share. Check out True Awesome Clothing Company at facebook.com/trueawesomeclothes. And know that each and every one of you are loved. I'll see you next time.